Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Purpose Practitioners Club podcast. Listen, if I sound extra energetic today or if I sound hyped up, it's only because as I record this to go out on podcast platforms, I'm also recording a video. I'm recording myself as I record this podcast, and I'm so excited to try new things, as the podcast comes out, to have YouTube podcast as well. Is that what they call it? I don't know. I see all the cool kids doing it. I want to be a cool kid. So here we are. Here we are. For those who prefer video, you can always watch the podcast on YouTube. And for those who prefer only sound, because you want to drive and do your laundry and clean and whatever else you do, run and all those things, then all the podcast platforms will release this episode. So thank you for tuning in. I love that we get to have another chat. Happy New Week. And before we move into today's topic, I would actually like to read a review. So this one is from one of my favorite people on this entire planet, and her name is Bals Mutswane. And the title of her review is Quirky and Honest Platform. This is what she had to say. Mpumi is absolutely hilarious while getting her message across. When I listened to this podcast for the first time, I felt like I've known the host for forever because of how honest and authentic she is. She is funny, light-hearted, and serious all at the same time. Her way of aligning our career and purpose with spirituality is absolutely amazing and relatable. Great platform, Bumi, and I know many young and seasoned career and purpose-driven listeners will be inspired by this. Bells, thank you so much, girl. Thank you so much, my love. I really appreciate it. And for everybody else who listens to the podcast, I think this is from Apple Podcast. I would really, really love for you to write a raving review. Don't write that actually like you to write a rating review. And if you didn't know what the purpose of reviews is that it actually bumps up our particular podcast so that other people can see it in the category. And the category for our podcast is careers. So I'd really love for this podcast to top the charts. So please write a review. And while you're on it, please rate 5 star. I saw someone's review. No? It was a good review, Mara, 2 star. So I don't know if the person was not feeling great at the time, or maybe we don't understand what the rating is about. 5 star means, guys, this podcast was good. Please distribute it or show it to more people. 2 star drops the class average. Please don't drop the class average. Okay. I've got my notes on here. So if you see me looking down or looking to the side, it's only because I've got my podcast notes. And there's a dog outside. It's not my dog. It keeps barking. So if you hear that, let's forgive that dog. Okay. Let's forgive that dog. Cool, cool. So remember that the last time, okay, not the last time, but I had discussed with you the idea of having a podcast after party. Guys, I think recording video as I do this podcast is actually helping with my energy. Hey, I don't think I've ever felt this energetic recording a podcast. But I digress. I digress. So let me come back. Remember that I'd said that I wanted to get into something called a podcast after party. So I decided, and it was on Wednesday. I think I did once or twice, but I think I actually wanted to do it on Friday. When everybody winds down. Okay, let me tell you, when I still went to the office on Fridays, we would go to Grill House, a restaurant that's really right by our office. Would go to Grill House, just wind down, chill, and do all those things. So I think I want to bring back that culture. Nah. So we'll come together, but this time it'll be like slightly educational. So it'll be sort of informal but also like educational, so that, well, it's not a complete waste of time. So bring your, if it's cold, bring your warm beverage. If it's hot, then bring whatever, your mocktail, your cocktail, whatever you drink, whatever you wind down to. On Fridays, please, let's come together at lunchtime and have a lunch and learn. All right, so wherever you are, we'll just tune in live on, should we do a live YouTube and live Instagram? Mm, I think we'll do. Should it be? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll choose the platform, but look out for details regarding that. But on Fridays, I'd like us to come together for a lunch and learn, and then we wind down and ease ourselves into the weekend. Can we do that? Thank you. Alrighty. And as I said already about rating and reviewing, please also share the podcast. So if something resonates with you and you really want this message to reach whoever you care about, please share this podcast episode on your social media platforms. So whatever social media platform, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, and very scarcely on Facebook. But I'd really love for you to rate the podcast. There's a car passing. I'd really love for you to rate the podcast, not rate, to share the podcast and tag at Purpose Practitioners Club. So please tag Purpose Practitioners Club so we can shout you out and so we can repost it as well. All right. So let's get into the content of today's podcast episode. Valentine's is coming. Valentine's is over. Ah, where's your boyfriend? Valentine's is over. People, where's your boyfriend? Guys, so it was the 14th of February just the other day. And now it's gone. Valentine's is over. And people's boyfriends have also evaporated with Valentine's. But it was great. It was great to see the flowers and the chocolates and the marriage proposals and the surprises and the vacations and all of those things. But now they're gone. They're gone. And I'm really curious, Sugutsi, what remains? What remains now that the romance and the passion is gone? What remains? And I think what remains is the two of you and what you guys have going on. Is it solid enough? Is it only like umlilo amaphepha? In Zulu we say umlilo amaphepha. Meaning Gutsi, it is lit now and then the next moment it's gone. The fire is gone. I hate to be the one to rain on your Valentine's parade or burst your romance bubble, but the honest truth is that the romance of Valentine's isn't enough. It can't be enough because if that's all you look for, if the romance and the warm, fuzzy feelings is all you look for, number one, it's not sustainable. But number two, it is not the true characteristic of your relationship. Romance is the cherry on top of the cake. Actually, scrap that. I don't like cherries. Romance is the dark chocolate shaving on top of the fresh cream from a black forest cake. Was it a ghetto? I don't know. I don't know. But from Woolworths, you know that cake? Mm, that's what romance is. It is the extra, but the foundation, the cake, the main ingredients, what makes the cake, that is what matters, and that is what remains when Valentine's is over and all the fluttering feelings are over, and now you have to be left with the true substance of the relationship. And I thought it apt to start speaking really about the the idea of purpose and relationships, the idea of purpose and having a partner or choosing a partner. In fact, there's a woman whose writing I love so much. Her name was Ellen G. White. Her writing is full of wisdom and really full of anointing. And she says that every woman who is looking to get married should ask these three questions. Number one, will this union help me heavenward? So, will it help me on my journey to heaven? Number two, will it increase my love for God? Very important question. And number three, will it enlarge my sphere of influence in this life? Mm, so important. And I want to dwell on this one. Will it enlarge my sphere of usefulness in this life? Because I speak on the value that we put out there into the world. I speak on impact. I speak on purpose. I speak really on the mission that God has us here on this earth for. And so she's saying that as a woman, when you really think about who to join your life with and who to do life with, one of the questions should be, will this relationship or will this union enlarge my sphere of usefulness in this life? This is very important because in Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, when God was speaking, after God had created Adam and Eve, he said to them, I want you to be fruitful and multiply. Now, these concepts are amazing for me. The concept of fruitfulness and multiplication. Firstly, this command or this instruction could mean a number of things. Number one, it could literally mean make more children or bear as many children as you can responsibly raise. And number two, it really speaks to the sphere of usefulness on this earth that the two people are meant to have together. Okay, so as I said, I really love the concept of fruitfulness and multiplication, because fruitfulness speaks to the fact that there is a seed that can produce fruit, right? Fruitfulness means there's a seed that is put on the ground and it can produce more fruit. So this, from this one seed, we have fruit that in them have more fruit and more fruit and more fruit. And the multiplication, and we know, if you've done any sort of maths, you know that anything multiplied by zero is zero. So the implication here is that none of the components or none of the elements can be zero. Each needs to have a value so that when those values are brought together, they are better and bigger than each of the components on their own. So the individuals on their own are capable and they are great, but they are better together. So when we really think about two people coming together, the idea should be, are you better together? The two of you have got intrinsic value. You've got value that you're putting out there, but do you become better when you are combined? Because the honest truth is, the union should be an accelerant and not a deterrent. Quote me, tag at Mbumi K Mbonani or at Purpose Practitioners Club. The union should be an accelerant and not a deterrent. Okay, the two of you combined should accelerate whatever it is God has you on this earth for. It shouldn't deter you or hinder you or slow down or limit whatever it is that you've been put on this earth for. Okay, so today I'm really going to speak on three things. The first one is the fact that I'm going to help you choose a purpose partner. I'm going to share with you how you can choose a purpose partner. Secondly, how to examine if the one you're with is the one to carry your life's work with. And I don't mean if you're married to them, because I'm not going to advocate for divorce or encourage people to, not your purpose partner, leave him. No, but if you're dating or if you're seriously considering marriage, I want you to examine if the person you're with is actually the one you should be with to continue your life's work with. And finally, how to establish the purpose of your union if you are already married. But before then, for all the nosy people out there, I actually want to share the story of how coming to my purpose ruined my relationship. Mm. All right, let's go. So I met a guy just as I was about to turn 20. And I fell in love with this guy. Saw him presenting at church one time. And I was like, you're gonna be my baby daddy. I'm gonna have all your babies, and you're gonna lead me and my family. I fell absolutely in love with this guy. And we dated for quite a bit. And here's the thing. So, as you know, or may not know, I was raised by my mom. Okay. And being raised by my mom meant that I didn't have the love of a father. So, I always yearned or longed for the idea of being in a home where there is love from a man. Now, this may sound confusing to people who know me personally because I've got a brother and I've got a brother in law. But here's the difference. My brother just lives his own life. When my dad left, he was quite young, but also growing up, he never really took on the responsibility of stepping in as the man of the home and being responsible for me, at least, who's a sister who's 11 years younger than him. He just never stood in for, and I wasn't expecting him to be my father, but you know the responsibility that bigger brothers like carry and they want to be the warrior. My brother never did that. Then I have a brother in law. And people might think, oh, but he's loving and he's a great man. But here's the thing, he was introduced to our family not because he loved me, he loved my sister. He was there for my sister. It's my sister that he wanted to build with. And when he married my sister, he took her away. And now they have their own family going on. So I never really got to experience the love and protection and just the covering of a man in a home. And when I thought about the idea of getting married, I was so excited about the prospect of having a man in the home, of being loved by a man, of loving a man, of being protected and covered by a man. That dog is absolutely annoying me. And if I start the whole time, it's not going to work out. Dear God, please, that dog muted. Okay. Sorry for that distraction, but I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind this dog. It's really, really frustrating me. Okay, so there was that aspect, but also because I was raised by a single parent, I never wanted my story to end like my mom's. I wanted a different story. And so I threw my heart and everything I had, like not irresponsibly, but I really invested in the relationship. I gave my love. I really tried to foster and nurture it so that my story doesn't end like my mom's, but so that I can actually experience a home with a man that loves me, that chooses me, that stays for me, that protects me, that leads me, submits to me, and I can submit to them. Yes, the Bible says that submit to one another. So I wouldn't be the only one that's submitting, but also a man that I can proudly raise my kids with, a man who I would be happy. A man who I'd be happy to raise my daughters, but also a man I would be happy if my sons turned out like him. And then this guy, I saw that, I was just like, ooh, you are for me and I am for you. But it didn't really work out that well. But here's the thing. So I was in varsity at that time and I absolutely hated what I was studying. And I knew that that was something that was happening. But because I was in this relationship with this guy, I thought, all of the stuff can wait. Really figuring out what I want to do can wait. And I sort of didn't actually not even sort of I didn't focus on my purpose pursuing or purpose discovery journey. I pushed that to a future. I was like, when this guy and I get married, then we'll figure it out. We will know what our union needs to do, whatever. So I put out the idea of purpose altogether because, man, I was in a relationship. I was preparing for marriage. I loved it there. What happened is the ground started shaking. Have you ever put like a mixture of sand and pebbles or sand and stones into like a surface, and when you shake it up, all the sand settles to the ground and all the pebbles come up to the top? That's what happened. All the stuff, like the things that don't matter, but we make matter because we are in love, because we are infatuated, because it's still not honeymoon butterflies, all that stuff settled to the ground and the pebbles came up. When the pebbles came up, it was like, ooh, snap. What's really going on here? What's the real here? What's the real deal? And so, because we couldn't get to the real deal, we broke up. And in the time that we broke up, of course, my heart was shattered. But in the time we broke up, I actually, in that time, discovered my purpose. I went on a purpose discovery journey, also because 2017 was a mess of a year. Now I'm giving too much detail. Was a mess of a year when I hated my first year of work and all of that. So in that time, God revealed to me what my purpose was. And between then and when I finally started operating under Purpose Practitioners Club, there was a lot that happened. I was learning, I was undertaking coaching, I was understanding quite a number of things. So there was a lot going on in the background, a whole lot of work that was going on. And a short time after I discovered my purpose, that guy came back and was like, hey, I think I'd like us to start again, whatever, whatever. And we got back together. But for me, things were never the same. They were never the same. I think because I'd become enlightened on what really matters. And I'm not saying that relationships and marriage don't matter, but for me at that time, what really mattered was stepping into what God had put on my heart, stepping into what God had put me on this earth for. And so the one question when we got back together and all those things, the one question that kept boiling up in my mind and that I brought to surface at the end was, what is the work that you are doing that you need help with? And where I'm getting a reference to this from is when we read the story of Adam and Eve and the creation, we understand that God created Adam first and gave him work to do. So there was tending of the garden, there was naming of the animals and all of that. And God said, it's not good for man to be alone. Therefore, I will make him a helper or a helpmeet suitable for him. So it was not good for the work that he had on this earth, for and not just for the work, but also for companionship, and relation and all of that. But God saw that it was not good for Adam to be alone, and that him having a helpmeet compatible with him or comparable with him would actually make his life better, his usefulness, his love for him, and all of those things. And so Eve was created. So my understanding was I cannot be engaging in what could potentially lead to marriage if I don't even know what your work is. What is your work so that I know what you need help with? And we can ascertain if I'm the person that can actually help you with that work. And we never got to the answer. At that time, the answer was never really clear. And so I thought, what's the point of us being together? Because if we're just together and there's no purpose and there's no point, we would be using each other essentially. And when you use something, when you use toothpaste, at the end of whatever period, it runs out. When you use toilet paper, it runs out. When you use milk, it runs out. So I was worried that if we get together, we would basically be using each other to the point of consuming each other. So I didn't see the point of being in that space. And so once again, that was that on that. That was that on that. But the truth for me is, I was no longer willing to settle for just having a man. You know, those ideas I told you in the past that I wanted a man to love me and to choose me. And I wanted my story to end differently. I no longer was willing to settle to just have a man for having a man's sake. I had to protect my calling. And I had to put myself in a place where I can be aligned with someone whose calling I also complement. Because not just about me, it's about them as well. I wanted to know, do our purposes actually align? Should I be with you? But more than that, I just really wanted to protect what God had going on for me, what God had shown me, my calling. And for me, love got redefined. It wasn't just about the butterflies anymore. It wasn't about the dates. It wasn't about he makes me happy. It wasn't about all those things that matter but aren't the most important thing. For me, love got redefined. And so, in all of this, actually, the guy also felt like I was drifting away from him when I started executing on what my purpose required of me, when I started really getting into the work of my purpose and establishing a profession and doing the work that I need to do. He felt as though I was drifting away. And maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. I can't say for sure right now. But what I do know is that things were never the same for me. The relationship had to have a purpose. And all those things would then come into play. I often say that operating fully in your purpose unlocks unmatched levels of joy, of impact, and sustainability or wealth. And so can you just imagine what the coming together of people who are already experiencing joy, already creating an impact, already building wealth, and are living sustainably in their purpose? That those people coming together, it's explosive. It is absolutely explosive because truly, when the romantic feelings wear out, the foundation that will keep you grounded is the purpose that brought you two together in the first place. If there's no purpose to your union, it will crumble. We see a lot of divorce going around because people settled into those relationships. He makes me happy. We can take brilliant Instagram pictures. The foundation wasn't purpose. The why was never really gotten to. Or the what was what kept people together. The how to do the work and the why we are together, when all those frivolous things wear out, what will keep you standing, what will keep you together is the why. It is harder to separate yourself from purpose because you realize, Uzi, it is so much bigger than me. It's so much bigger than the fact that now he doesn't please me, he doesn't make me happy the way he used to. It's so much bigger than, oh no, I'm no longer in love with him. It's not just about you. When the two of you come together in covenant and you bring God into the picture, it ceases to be about you. The way he designed and instituted marriage is for a greater cause. It's not good for man to be alone. So we make him a helper that is suitable for him. Help in the work that they're doing, comparable to be a companion. So we focus on the wrong things at time. And today, I really want us to have a reframed view of people coming together. So the big question, how do you establish this purpose partnership? And we're going to speak on 3 points: design, requirement, and environment. I'm not going to be long winded. I'm not going to waste your time. Design, requirements, and environment. Let's hop right in. Number one, design. Everything is designed to fit the purpose intended for it. A chair is designed for people to sit on. A television is designed to tell a vision, to give us visual and audio stories. A microphone is designed for recording. Every component and every piece is designed. The whole thing is has all these things. Sorry, I need to sorry, I'm so sorry about that. So everything that is right here is designed or is put together, and this thing is designed for its particular purpose. And so you are designed for whatever purpose that you are intended for. When God made you and He gave you all these natural abilities, all these spiritual gifts, your way of thinking, the way your heart is bothered by certain things, how you view life and the world, literally how your form and everything that is in you. You were designed this way for a purpose that God intended for you. So understanding that, I would then ask, what is your purpose? And then in turn, you ask the person who you're with or who is asking to be with you or you're considering to be with what their purpose is. So you come together and you say, what is your design? Run me through your design, all the things I just mentioned, and you consider your design. And you say, will your design and my design actually be comparable? When we see a charger and a two-pin plug. This design is meant to fit into a two-pin plug. So you literally ask yourself, your design and mine, are they comparable? Are they compatible? Are they suitable? Are you and me comparable? And when you think about compatibility, at times we think about sex and we think about all those things. No, but is your design that informs your purpose and mine that informs my purpose, can they come together? Can we operate together? Ibizwani konje complementarily. Do we complement one another? I love this analogy that I'm going to give you right now. So for me, where things go wrong is where we can fix them. So if something goes wrong, I often ask people to, at what point did it go wrong? What was that place that went wrong? Because if we can get to that place, then we can troubleshoot or fix and make sure that we can reverse engineer and everything can run smoothly after we've discovered the cause, right? So when I think about where it all went wrong is Adam and Eve in the garden. So I often say, when we think about design and purpose and all those things in a partnership, I want you to think about Adam or the guy and Eve, which is the lady. So for the guy, look at his garden. Consider carefully his garden. Is it tended to? Is he tending to his garden? Because if a garden is not tended to, guess what grows? Snake. Did we see a snake in the Garden of Eden? And what happened when the snake did what the snake did? We fell into sin. Oh, Adam was given the instruction. The instruction to never eat of the fruit was given to Adam. He was supposed to deliver the message to the wife and stay close. I think in the spirit of prophecy in a Bible commentary, we actually learn that Adam was never to be separated from Eve. He was supposed to be with him because of the cunning of the snake. So Adam wasn't tending to his garden. And the wife wandered away. And guess who caught the wife? The snake. So you need to see, sister, is he tending to his garden? And his garden, in our practical terms, is his work. Is he tending to his work? Is he doing the work that he needs to be doing, the work that he's designed for? Is he tending to the garden of his heart? Because if his heart is messed up, if his heart is not being tended to, it's growing weeds, it's growing tares. And you don't want to be in that garden. Emahlathini. You don't want to be in Mahlathini. You want to be in a garden that is well taken care of, whose flowers are booming, whose grass is green. You want the man that you are going to be with to tend his garden, to actually know what his garden is. Because the danger is these men, sometimes men don't even know that they have a garden, and they don't even know what their garden is. So does he know his garden, and is he tending to the garden? Another thing we see with Adam is that God gave him the task of naming these animals, and God never disputed with why are you calling that a giraffe? Why are you calling that an elephant? God was in agreement with whatever Adam was saying. So do they have that relationship? God and your man, God and that guy. Does he have a relationship with God where he is so influenced by God that God doesn't see the need to correct or rebuke or to be like, no, you're doing the wrong thing, you're saying the wrong thing? Is there that relationship? Because if a man is not surrendered and submitted to God, where is he going to lead you to? Where is he learning how to treat you? Who's giving him the instruction of his life? So women surrender and women submit to God. Women submit to the man as the man submits to God. So if he and God are not in agreement, you're in danger. So look at his garden. And men, because I know men watch this, and I told you that my audience is young professional women of faith. But anyway, and also this is good for women to know as well what they need to be working on. The fruit. Where it went wrong is Eve presented a fruit to Adam, and Adam couldn't resist because, oh, I love my girl. And now here we are in sin, in complete turmoil because Adam loved Eve too much. But anyway, that's not where we are. Her fruit, her fruit. She took that fruit because she was influenced by a snake. Who is speaking into your ear, sister? Brother, who is speaking into her ear? Because if the influence in her ear is not right, you in trouble. You in trouble. So it's good if the woman is listening to the Holy Spirit. In any case, the only other time we hear of the reference of a helper in the Bible is as it relates to the Holy Spirit. So when God was saying that he will make Adam a partner that is going to be a helper, it was really speaking to the influence that a woman would have on a man. And we can't deny women have got a strong influence on men. So whatever influence that the lady listens to is going to be the influence that infiltrates down into the man and into the relationship. So your fruit, young woman, your fruit. What fruit are you bearing? What fruit are you bearing? Is it fruit that is edible? Is it fruit that is going to lead people to the knowledge of good and evil? You don't want to lead anyone to sin. You don't want to lead yourself to sin. And the biggest thing as well is identity. Women need to know their identity. I think where we get it wrong a lot, where we are swayed and abused and all these things. And I'm not saying, I'm not justifying abuse. The fact that a man abuses a woman is not a reflection on the woman, not completely anyway. So when we understand our identity, it will be very difficult for the devil or anybody or any man to trick us into anything. The serpent said to Eve, when you eat of this fruit, you will be like God. Eve, you were created in the image of God. Literally, when God and when the Trinity was creating, it said, let us make man in our own image, after our likeness. There was nothing more than God that they could look like or be. They were already like God. So when you don't know your identity, it is a problem. It is a huge problem. So the fruit, his garden, his garden, and her fruit. Because the idea is you need to ask yourself together is the garden conducive to produce the fruit that her seed carries? So she's got a seed. And with that seed is the ground and the environment conducive for this fruit. There are certain fruits that don't grow in certain parts of the world because of the climate, because of the soil, because of all those things. So you need to ask yourself the fruit that you bring, can it grow in my garden? Can you produce more of that in my garden? And if the garden cannot bear the fruit, then maybe not. Maybe not. There'll be other people whose purposes align to yours, and you can build happy families and really live a prosperous life. And the second thing is requirements, okay? Requirement basically is asking the question, what is your ministry? What, because of your design, what is the requirement on your life? When I say ministry, I basically mean what are the needs you are designed to meet? All right. Because when you understand natural abilities from the design, when you understand spiritual gifts from the design, and you bring the needs or the ministry together, then you'll be able to answer questions like, what is your mission? What is your message? You'll be able to answer questions like, who are you called to serve? Because when I understand who you're called to serve, it'll become easier for me if our purpose is meant to be aligned. It'll also answer questions like, what are the avenues or the channels that you are meant to serve your mission or your message through? When you understand the requirements on the other person and you understand the requirements on your life, then you are able to see synergies and alignment between the two of you. You need to ask yourself this question: is either one of you built for the toll of the other's responsibility? So are you built to carry or whatever or to really stand for the requirements that are on the other person's life? Are you designed for the life that they are meant to lead? Because if the one is called to full-time ministry and the other to full-time corporate, and I'm not saying it can't work, it could, but at times not optimally. At times you see two entrepreneurs really chasing their purpose together, and it works because their lifestyles match. You see two people who are climbing the corporate ladder and they're able to encourage one another. They're able to really build each other because the way they are designed and the requirements of their design and their purpose is comparable. They speak the same language. They have similar ambitions. They can climb the ladder together. So think about what the requirement on your life is and their life is based on the design that they have. And finally, environment. Are you being sent in the same direction? Are you being instructed to go in the same direction? If the one is called to do ministry in Czech Republic and the other full-time ministry in Czech Republic and the other is meant to be in full-time corporate in Johannesburg, already the environment, you're not called to the same place. So is there then a point to you two coming together? And I know like I'm hopping on, I'm talking about relationships as in dating. Is that a gun? Oh my goodness. Everything is happening. It's nighttime. Everything is happening here. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting disrupted. So if the one is called into literally a far country and the one is called to stay here, there's absolutely no point in being together because long distance, in dating it could work, but in marriage, no. That's not how it was designed. And I know I'm hopping on marriage so much, as in like, we're just dating. But if you're dating just to date, then are you not wasting your time? For me, dating or courtship is meant to be preparation for marriage. I'm not interested in dating just to date. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of heart. Literally, you spend so much time with this person, on this person, for this person, and it takes away your usefulness. And also, such a waste of heart. Like, if there's one advice I would give my younger self is don't date. Don't date. I'd probably start dating after varsity, honestly, because before then, it is really just a waste of my heart. You traumatize yourself. You pick up so much baggage that you have to unpack when you get into a serious relationship, and it is just so much. The traumas, the things you learn, the deception you gather along the way, the heartbreaks you endure. It's just so much. So dating just to date is a waste of time. It is a waste of heart. I would not encourage anybody to do it. So understand that, all right? And environments, I'm also talking now about, are the two of you going to be able to create an environment that will advance the purpose? So speaking each other's love languages, because we know that when somebody is loved, they operate from a place of love. They do everything they do from a place of love, and everything done from a place of love is beautiful. It is in service. it is done with a cheerful heart. So can you speak each other's love language to fill each other's love tanks, that what overflows or what oozes out is from a place of love. And the devotion to God, can your environment really increase or advance your devotion to God individually and together? Can you support each other? Can you actually, out of love and out of devotion and out of understanding why you're together, support the purpose of the other person? Also understanding that the rate of individual purposes may not be the same. The one may have already established a business and the one may have just discovered their purpose. So the one who has advanced and understands what it takes to actually get to a place of operating your purpose needs to help the one who has just discovered it. If the one has already established the business and the one has got skills that'll be useful in this business, you understand what I mean? Like that synergy, that coming together of, I execute on my purpose, but because yours is so aligned to mine, in working together and coming together, we accelerate the work that God has put us on this earth for. So, in conclusion, it behooves you to be wise in the choice of who you do life with, because that person can either accelerate or deter your purpose. Another thing, you need to be crystal clear on your individual purpose, and so does the other person, because this will make it easier to determine how the two of you fit into each other's lives and what you need to join forces on to accomplish together. So, if you want to start your purpose journey and possibly bring your partner along, because Purpose Practitioners Club is for young professional women of faith. But if you want to bring your partner along, let's hop on a consultation call. Let's hop on a complimentary slash free consultation call, because I really want to understand where you currently are, what your vision is, where the gaps are, and how I can help in order to make sure that you choose well. You choose well, and you have a marriage that is approved by God, that is of service to this world and gives you the most fulfillment, the ultimate joy. I want to work with you. And so before we can do that, let's hop on a call. Let's chat. Let's understand how you and I can be a best fit in order to get you to that purpose that you and your partner will fulfill together. I'll leave the link to the consultation call in the description box for those who are watching, and in the show notes for those who are listening on your preferred podcast platform. All right, I really can't wait to chat with you. Sorry, this dog is distracting me. But finally, we'll have on Friday we'll have a laid back session, and we'll just learn together and catch up and all those things. So watch out for the details, and I will speak to you soon. But from this purpose practitioner to you, have a fruitful week and multiply whatever God has for you. Bye.